ladies and gentlemen, as you know, Jeff Sessions was in front of the Judiciary Committee for 2 days. And the unprecedented opportunity for a sitting senator to testify against him. John Lewis, civil rights hero, testified against him. We know, factually speaking, that a Republican-controlled Senate rejected him as a federal judge in '86 because of his racist past. We also know that he has been hostile to things like the Voting Rights Act, which he said was intrusive, and on and on. But do you understand what's really going on here, right, folks? It is a war against white people. And Representative Mo Brooks, Republican from Alabama, is going to remind us of that. Here he is speaking on Alabama's WPHP 800 in the morning with this lady and somebody else.
It looks like there are several black pastors who are coming to defend Sessions against racism. But then you have all these African-American liberal professors who have written a letter saying, you know, that he's racist.
Pause it for one moment. Let me just clarify what that radio host in Alabama's WBHP 800 was referring to. I think what she was referring to was the letter from over 1,100 law professors.
All of them black, but they're not ministers.
I would be willing to wager that the number of African-American law professors in this country who are African-American is significantly less than 1,100. But maybe I'm wrong. But I don't think they're all black. But I wonder why she would make that claim. They're all black. Well, whatever.
You know, that he's racist. Does it have to do with the voting rights, the voter ID laws? Is that what they're talking about?
Well, if you get right down to it, it's all about political power. And the Democrats are not shy about lying in order to achieve their political goals. And if they have to besmirch the reputation of a good man, Jeff Sessions, in order to achieve their political goals, they, as a group, are not hesitant to do so. For example, on the Voting Rights Act that they complain about Jeff Sessions about,
yep.
Let's be real clear what the change was that the Republicans supported, that the United States Supreme Court supported, that the Democrats don't like. The Democrats want to deny equal protection to states. Right now, all 50 states under the Voting Rights Act are treated exactly the same. The Democrats want states like Arizona and Alaska and Alabama and probably about a dozen of them treated differently than the other 30-some-odd states. And I'm one of those that believes all states ought to be treated exactly alike. The voting rights ought to be the same in every single state.
Now,
but that is the core of the problem when you get to the Voting Rights Act. But
Pause it. Now, the core of the problem of the Voting Rights Act in 1965, when this was passed, there was over a half a dozen states and counties, including counties, I should say, in New York, that had a record of, and determined by federal judges, of discriminatory practices in setting up voting laws to expressly to discriminate against African Americans and other minorities. And they were deemed to be basically on probation, wherein they would need preclearance for any changes in their laws because of their objectively, judiciously found record of racial discrimination. And the Supreme Court overruled the Senate and the House, who voted to reauthorize the Voting Rights Act, including that preclearance provision, which, you know, is what I think they call judicial activism. Even though Republicans and Democrats voted almost unanimously to reauthorize it. And so when this guy talks about we should all be treated equally, well, if you want them all to be treated equally, how about everybody gets pre-clearance before you go to the DOJ? I mean, before you change your laws. Now, he doesn't want that because what we saw is all of these states that had discriminated against black people and made it harder for them to vote, the day after began to craft legislation and pass legislation to make it harder for African Americans to vote. But continue here.
Problem when you get to the Voting Rights Act, but that's only a tool that the Democrats are using. It's really about political power and racial division and what I've referred to on occasion as the war on whites. They are trying to motivate the African-American vote to vote block for Democrats by using every Republican is a racist tool that they can envision, even if they have to lie about it.
Even if they have to lie about it. Now, fortunately,
I don't find that we need to lie about it.
In the case of Mo Brooks, doesn't sound like they have to do anything. Just let him go on radio.
Look, now in my case, I might say something like, there's a war on whites and completely lie about gutting the Voting Rights Act.
The war on whites is all about allowing African Americans to vote. Hey, it's Sam Seder. Why don't you subscribe to this channel? You can do so right over here. Subscribe.